Welcome to our channel where we delve into the darkest corners of the human mind and explore the unsettling mysteries that plague our world. Tonight, we journey into the realm of the unexplained, a place where shadows dance and whispers echo with untold horrors. Today, we bring you three terrifying tales of shadow people, those eerie figures that lurk just beyond the edge of your vision. They linger in the periphery, watching, waiting for the opportune moment to reveal themselves. Are they figments of our imagination, or something more sinister? Prepare yourself, for tonight, we confront the darkness that resides just beyond our sight. The old Victorian house stood on Harbinger Lane, shrouded in a perpetual gloom that seemed to seep from its very foundation. It had stood for over a century, a silent sentinel to countless seasons and untold stories. To the Thompson family, it seemed like the perfect place to start their new life. They were unaware of the darkness that had seeped into the very walls, awaiting their arrival. It began subtly, a flicker of movement in the dead of night, dismissed as tricks of the light, but the shadows grew bolder, more persistent, taking on a chilling form in their vision. It was in the hallway that the entity made its presence most known, a fleeting glimpse of a towering figure. The family tried to convince themselves it was their imaginations, the stress of the move. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted, growing with each passing night. One evening, a cold draught swept through the house, extinguishing the fireplace and plunging the room into darkness. Little Emily, her eyes wide with terror, screamed, "The Shadow Man! He's here!" Her parents tried to calm her, but their reassurances rang hollow. The temperature plummeted, the bone-chilling cold emanating from the hallway. It was then that the shadow chose to fully reveal itself, no longer content with fleeting appearances. It emerged from the darkness, a towering silhouette against the faint moonlight, its eyes two burning embers fixed on the family, sending shivers down their spines. The family was paralyzed with fear, their breath catching in their throats as the shadow glided closer. The air grew heavy, thick with a palpable sense of dread. They were trapped, caught in the grip of an unseen terror. Then, as quickly as it appeared, the shadow dissipated, leaving behind a deafening silence. The family was left shaken, their perception of reality shattered. The haunting continued, escalating with each passing day. Objects moved mysteriously, whispers emanated from the walls, and Emily's laughter was replaced by terrified whimpers. They tried everything to rid themselves of the entity, cleansing rituals, prayers, even confronting the shadow, but to no avail. The Shadow Man had become an unwelcome resident, woven into the fabric of their lives. Driven to the brink by terror, the Thompson family had no choice but to abandon their dream home. To this day, the house stands empty, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. The experience left the Thompson family forever changed, haunted by the memory of the Shadow Man. Route 66, a ribbon of asphalt slicing through the heart of America, steeped in lore and legend. For decades, travelers have journeyed along its path, their stories woven into the fabric of the highway's history. But beneath the veneer of nostalgia and adventure, there lies a darkness that few dare to speak of. A darkness that took hold of Michael on a desolate stretch of road one starless night. Michael, a seasoned trucker, knew the loneliness of the open road, the way the miles stretched on, punctuated only by the hum of his engine and the crackle of his CB radio. He had seen his fair share of strange occurrences, unexplained lights in the distance, fleeting glimpses of figures on the roadside, but nothing could have prepared him for the encounter that awaited him on that fateful night. He was hauling a load of electronics across state lines, the only sound the steady drone of his engine and Johnny Cash crooning on the radio. As he approached a particularly desolate stretch of road, a shiver ran down his spine, an unnerving feeling settling over him. He tried to shake it off, attributing it to fatigue, but something felt different, the air thick with an unseen tension. Then, in the distance, illuminated by his headlights, he saw it. A figure standing motionless in the middle of the road, its form shrouded in shadow. Michael slammed on the brakes, the truck screeching in protest as he strained to make out the figure through the windshield. It was tall and slender, its edges blurring into the darkness, its features indistinguishable. He reached for his CB radio, his voice tight with apprehension. "Breaker 19, this is Big Rig Mike. Anyone else see something strange up ahead on Route 66 mile marker? I don't know. This stretch ain't got no markers." Static. He was alone. His heart pounded in his chest, a drumbeat against the silence of the night. The figure remained motionless, as if daring him to approach. Michael's instincts screamed at him to turn around, to put as much distance between him and the figure as possible. But something, perhaps curiosity or a morbid fascination, compelled him forward. Slowly, cautiously, he eased his foot off the brake and let the truck inch forward. As he got closer, the figure seemed to shift, its form wavering in the headlights' glare. Michael squinted, trying to focus, to make sense of what he was seeing, and that's when it hit him, a wave of terror so profound it stole his breath. The figure had no face. Where there should have been eyes, a nose, a mouth, there was only an expanse of darkness, a void that seemed to absorb the light itself. Michael slammed his foot on the accelerator, the engine roaring back to life. He swerved around the figure, tires screaming in protest, as he fought to regain control of the truck. He didn't dare look back, his heart pounding in his ears. He drove through the night, fueled by adrenaline and terror. The image of the faceless figure seared into his mind. He never stopped on Route 66 again, forever haunted by the memory of that night. His once familiar route now a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks on the fringes of reality. 10-year-old Daniel loved his room, a colorful haven filled with action figures and comic books. But lately his sanctuary had transformed into a place of fear, his nights plagued by a recurring nightmare that bled into his waking hours. It always started the same way, a subtle shift in the atmosphere, the air growing heavy, the temperature dropping. He would wake with a start, his heart pounding, a cold sweat clinging to his skin. And there at the foot of his bed, a shadow would coalesce, its form shifting and swirling as if struggling to take shape. The first time he saw it, Daniel dismissed it as a bad dream, the remnants of a scary movie playing tricks on his mind, but the shadow persisted. Night after night, growing more distinct, more menacing with each appearance. It stood motionless, a silent sentinel in the darkness, its presence radiating a palpable sense of dread. Daniel would lie frozen in terror, his breath caught in his throat, too afraid to move, to even scream. He tried to tell his parents, to articulate the chilling fear that gripped him, but the words caught in his throat, the experience too terrifying to put into words. He tried leaving the lights on, hoping to banish the shadow with the comforting glow, but it remained undeterred, its form even more unsettling against the artificial light. Night after night, Daniel endured the terrifying visits, the shadow becoming an unwelcome fixture in his life, a constant source of dread. His once vibrant imagination now conjured up images of the shadow lurking in every corner, his every thought consumed by its presence. He withdrew into himself, his laughter silenced, his eyes reflecting the terror that had taken root in his young heart. One night, as the shadow loomed at the foot of his bed, Daniel could take it no longer. He mustered all his courage, his small voice trembling as he whispered into the darkness, "Go away, leave me alone." The shadow remained motionless, its silence a chilling response. Tears streamed down Daniel's face, a mixture of fear and frustration, his small body trembling. And then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the shadow began to recede, melting back into the darkness from whence it came. Daniel held his breath, his eyes fixed on the spot where the shadow had stood moments before. The room seemed to lighten, the air no longer heavy with dread. He wasn't sure if the shadow was truly gone, if it was merely biding its time, waiting for him to let his guard down. But for that night, he found a sliver of peace, a glimmer of hope in the darkness that had haunted him. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown, a glimpse into the unsettling world of shadow people. Their existence remains a mystery, their motives shrouded in darkness. Are they simply figments of our imagination, remnants of dreams bleeding into reality? Or do they represent something more sinister, a glimpse into a realm beyond our understanding? If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling tales. We have so much more to explore together, so many more mysteries to unravel. Until next time, keep your eyes open and beware of the shadows. You never know what might be lurking just beyond your sight.